Maloney. Here. We also have Mr. DeMaster from the building department with us. We are missing two members this evening.
Mike.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. Remember to turn your mic on so it's red when you speak, so we're able to pick. It says on. Oh, these new things, I'll tell you. We are missing two members, Gear and Ms. Vosberg. We are not in full complement, but we have plenty of members to have a quorum, so we can have a meeting. But the only thing is that I caution everyone going forward is we're gonna need 4 positive votes to move something forward, not just a simple majority. So if we run into those situations, we may have to table it to another meeting. So I just want everyone in the audience and everyone on the board to fully understand where we're going with that. The way I normally conduct our meetings, I'd like the petitioner up, give us a thumbnail of what you're proposing, and then it'll come back here to the board. And in that period of time, if we have any questions, we'll ask them at that time. We'll then turn it to the public. The public is willing to speak on it. I just like for you not to be repetitious or condescending, anything like that. Pretty much just stick to the facts of the issue. We have 5 petitions, and they pretty much handle one type of development. Sometimes we can group them together. I think looking at this right now, unless another member has any comments, I think A and B are pretty much critical. The density of the buildings and also the recreation use too. So I think they would pretty much be handled. I mean, should we handle this together, or what's the board's feeling on something like that? Anybody? Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I've you know, on some of the issues, I can give leeway.
Okay.
There's some that I'm not going to.
Okay.
So I think they need to be handled as a separate.
No problem.
Issue.
Okay.
Thank you.
I agree.
You agree too? Anybody else? Okay, we cleared that up. Okay, we're gonna start off with 2022-2, which is the first one on our docket. That's A. Somebody representing, can they please step up to the podium and state the reason that you're in front of us this evening?
There we go. Can you hear us now?
Yeah. All right, good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming up this evening. My name's Ben Meldrum with Meldrum Properties. It's my brother, Paul. We are asking for 5 variances for a 40-unit apartment development located the northwest corner of Sasson 23. What's interesting about this development, just first and foremost, before we kind of dive into letter A, it is 40 units. 20 of these units are ground floor units with no stairs, steps, nothing, curbless entry into the units. We think that's feasible for all types of demographics, and just want to point that out specifically kind of before we move forward. In regards to letter A, we're asking for a use variance, 6,000 feet per 2-bedroom unit down to 5,360, which does allow 40 units here. Current ordinance would justify or allow 37 and a half.
It's actually 5630. I believe this was a typo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
And
it's
that was actually
it's not as extreme.
With that said, this site being 191 feet wide by about 1,100 feet deep, it's extremely costly to develop this site due to the amount of underground you have to run, 1,100 feet of pipe, electrical, concrete, everything. We almost we almost chose not to move forward with this project. It's that unfeasible, so.
Can you address the board, please?
Yes. So with that said, you know, we're not here to, and this is what we made clear on our initial meeting with the township planner and some other members that showed up. We're not here to ask for the moon and stars. It's simply a feasibility thing from a debt service issue that we face with our banker.
And these are all two-bedroom units. So if we were to manipulate, you know, some of the units into one-bedrooms, we probably could meet the ordinances. But these are all two-bedroom. So the footprint, if the board doesn't allow this one, the footprint's not gonna change. We would just manipulate the one, you know, some of the two-bedrooms into one-bedrooms, so, yeah. So that's basically our case on point A there.
Any questions, please? I'm going to invite the public to come up and speak on this.
Okay.
You step aside real
Yep,
quick.
no problem.
Really appreciate that.
Yep.
Anyone wish to speak on this issue, please come forward. Mine isn't. Mine isn't.
Is it still on? Yes. My name is Ronald D. Koopman. I live at 31948 Breezeway in the Seaview condominium complex. My understanding when I went to the township and asked for some questions is that this change would allow the builder to build an additional building. The township people who helped me indicated that this would allow them to add a fifth building as opposed to 4 buildings. 191 feet is not a very wide piece of property. Adding a fifth building concerns, I think, everyone here as to how the size of these buildings and how close they're going to be to our property. So my question for the builder is, does this allow you to add a fifth building?
We'll get to that in a minute. Anybody else, please?
Hi, my name is Pat Smith, and I'm also a resident of Seaview. As Ron mentioned, that is a very narrow piece of land. As it is where I sit in my living room, I can see the lights from the storage unit that shine into my living room, affecting my television viewing, watching, and stuff like that occasionally with the trees and stuff that are there. Building 4 buildings with parking lots and light poles so the people can see in 191 square feet is going to infringe on our living rooms, our bedrooms, on the lights there. And some of these people that live along Seaview, they have decks and front door entries that are facing this 191 square feet. We don't want to look out and see more people crammed into a 191 square foot place. Also, 23 Mile Road and Sass intersection is terrible. I've lived here for 48 years, my entire life. It's gotten worse. I see accidents every day, and they want to put additional 105 cars coming in and out that close to 23 and Sass. It's too cramped of an area to put an apartment complex or something right now where it's at. It's just too narrow. It's like the width of a backyard. So that's my opinion, but it's gonna affect lighting and everything and just make us feel like we're in a submarine. Thank you.
Anybody else, please?
Hi, I'm Liz Hawk. I also live at Seaview, and what they're proposing, the privacy of how close they want to put these buildings, the trash, how close it's going to be to us, is there going to be enough dumpsters per building? I mean, because I'm sorry, 40 units, 2 dumpsters, that's a lot of trash, because that's 40 people. Actually, 80 people, if you really think about it. That's a lot of trash. And lighting, as she said, it is a big issue. For me, I can't even keep my sliding door open sometimes at nighttime because the lights just shine right in from the storage unit already. And privacy is gonna be a big issue for me, you know, with them being right there, and all the noise and traffic, and extra cars that are gonna come in our section thinking they can get through to their area. So that's gonna be an issue also. Just wanted to let that be known. And is it low-income housing? How are we going to know what, you know, community they're putting in here? Is it Section 8 is gonna be allowed in there? Is it gonna be, I mean, not that I mind, but how is it gonna be kept up? How is it going to be developed to stay that way, as they say? Because right now, it's not even being taken care of. It's only been mowed twice since spring, which is a big issue. Thank you.
I'll leave it on, yeah.
Okay, I'm Ann Lamore, and I also live in Seaview, and I just want to repeat a little bit about what Liz said. Some of the figures he gave us was, he said the homes would be $1,600 a month, but he wasn't sure. But I am concerned about the trash cans. There's a severe breeze that comes through Seaview, and I mean it's heavy. I asked him if he could re-engineer those trash cans and put them someplace else. Our biggest concern is rodents, mice, possums, you name it. We have a lot of hobos in that area. They like to eat all those trash cans. We have crime in that area because of them. We don't need them walking through Seaview looking for food. You know, it also brings our property value down when you put up buildings like that. We asked him if there would be a chance of him turning it into Section 8. He said no, and he might be telling the truth. I mean, who am I to say? You know, it looks like a beautiful building on paper, but we don't know what's going to happen a few years down the road. This is not a good time for anything right now. I've lived in Seaview for over 35 years. This is my home. I care about what's going on, not only in Seaview, but in the community around us. It's a beautiful community. I just want something built there that's going to be healthy for not only Seaview, but the community in its entirety. And I'm really concerned about those trash cans. If he could re-engineer them, put them someplace else, maybe that's a solution, I don't know. But Liz is very right about everything she said. It's not going to help us. We have little children that play back there. We barbecue back there. And I was told that he can't put a wall up, and that's fine. He's just gonna put bushes, that's great. But, you know, I don't know who he's gonna rent to or what type of people. We've had experiences with renters in Seaview ourselves, and it was not always a healthy experience. So, you know, I just want you to take a lot of things into consideration before you give him permission to put a piece of property in there that might not work well for the community. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, can you please write your name and address down when you go up there? Yes, all these new technicalities. State
Good
your name
evening.
and
I
address
did
for
write
the-
my name down here.
Good, good, thank you so much.
my name
Anyone
is-
that hasn't, just grab the sheet and sign right
Okay.
over there. Yeah,
When we're done, you can.
yeah, we're done, or, yeah, we're gonna get it.
My name is Roxanne, and I also live in Seaview condos. I'm going to be a little more realistic, I think, in the approach to developments. I've worked for many municipalities. In fact, I worked for Chesterfield Township about 32 years ago in the assessing department. So I'm aware of how things work, totally aware. What I am against is giving any kind of variance. The variances, the ordinances are there for a reason, and they should stick to them. Once you give one, you're setting precedent for the next guy, the next guy. I currently work in Ira Township, and we face this all the time. You give it to one, you gotta give it to 2, 10, 15. I feel their pain. I know they're trying to make money, and I get it. If the zoning allows them to build, what if, is the RM2 or whatever the zoning may be, they can build it, but meet our ordinance. That's there for a reason. It may seem minimal to some, but the setbacks for the, the trees and the trash cans, that should be addressed. So, I mean, to me, they can build what they want, just meet the ordinance. And really, in an apartment complex right there, if you go that way, it's a tremendous amount of traffic. I mean, you pull out of our Breezeway Drive, and it's what, a couple hundred feet to the road, and there's gonna be hundreds of more cars. So, that's it, just go back to the drawing board and make it work.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming out this evening.
Hello, my name is Ben. I live there too. And you know, what everybody's saying here, I just don't want to repeat myself, but as they brought up about the trash cans with the rodents, I barbecue all the time. I have fish fries all the time. That's my area. So when I have company over, they're gonna have to rethink it. And also what they said about the traffic. I can sit on my back porch, my back patio, sit there, and I hear at least once or twice a week some kind of fender bender. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Unfortunately, we can't stop people from developing. They can develop as they see fit, as long as they mind the ordinances within the township. Also, for a wall to separate, usually a wall would be more in a commercial opposed to consider residential. And the way, if you take a look at true planning, you have commercial, office, apartments, condos, and then subdivisions. So really, they're kind of going along the way of a proper development, but there are still some issues. Anybody else? I'm going to close it down. Oh, go ahead, please, and sign in.
I already signed in.
Okay.
My name is Lisa Filipiak. I also live in the condos. I have a deck overlooking the field, right where they want to build. So feet from my deck that I enjoy the peacefulness of this area for the past 20 years, I will be looking at parking lots, cars, garbage, discarded furniture, which usually comes from apartment complexes. And let's all look at what happens at Aspen Creek, all the crime that goes on, the unruly behavior. The cops were just there yesterday. Is this the kind of people that are going to be coming into this apartment complex? So I don't think that if anybody lived, if any of you guys up there, I don't think anybody would want to live this close to this kind of development in that narrow of a property. I mean, they can say whatever they want to say, but they're going to do what they want to do, and then they're going to be gone, and we're going to be stuck living there. That's it.
Yeah, I know your feelings. I live on Mitchell, which I go through SAS, so I'm fully aware of the property and fully aware of the traffic there, too.
Hi, Linda Hartman.
Yes.
As you know, these variances, there's a lot of variances for one area. He did state that one of his problems is the cost of the development, which is not something your board is concerned about, of how much it costs a developer to develop. I think the property can be developed as RM2. I think that's the way it's zoned, and it doesn't meet the standards that this board is required to make sure that every standard is presented. If there's one standard that it does not meet, then you have to vote no on it. So just a reminder for that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anybody else? I will reopen it up to the public. I normally don't, but I'm going to reopen it up since there's a lot of issues here and we can move along. Petitioners, can you please step back up? Since none of my board members got questions, I have a couple. Someone mentioned Building 5. Is this allowing additional building for you or not? I'm trying to
No.
get that.
No, absolutely not. No, it's what the footprint is right now. It's 4 10-unit buildings, so 40 units. The variance would not permit a 5th building, no.
Yeah, they're all private entrance units.
The other thing that I also wanted to say too is I know you came in, you spoke to the township. And if I remember correctly, so like a pre-planning meeting, there's the planner, the engineer and a couple of township officials. What about on-site retention on this site? What was discussed regarding that? Water, you know?
So what was discussed?
Yeah, did you talk about having a pond in there or not, or?
Yep.
Yeah, so you'll see here.
I know.
On Sass Road. Yeah,
Okay.
Detention, and we're planning to have a nice fountain there. It's all landscaped.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Okay, I understand that too. I know a couple questions, and I know you're not obligated on this. Section 8 housing, is that one of your markets?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No. Yeah,
Thank
these
you.
are gonna be at market value or slightly above market, rents right now. So, our analysis is
yeah,
right
it's,
around
you
the $1,600 a month mark. So that's far away from section housing pricing. So,
Yeah, these are roughly 936 square feet to 1,300 square feet. The highest rents you're gonna get is $1.60 a foot, and that puts it right there. So this is the farthest thing from Section 8.
Okay,
yes,
thank you
guys
so much.
will not have to worry about that.
The other question too is, does your firm own title to this property, or?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 'Cause I didn't think Jimmy Michaels owned it. He owns everything else around it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
where we
he
bought it
did.
from.
He was
Yep.
actually supposed to be here tonight in favor
Okay.
of this.
Okay.
Unfortunately, just
To
couldn't
him and
make
his
it.
brothers, yep.
Okay, so you purchased it from him, okay.
Yep.
Okey dokey. You know, I did have a conversation with planning and building when I first seen this, and one of the concept was if you eliminated one of the buildings, you would not need this variance. Is that kind of, but then you went with the concept of saying, if we do one-bedroom homes or apartments opposed to two-bedroom, can you elaborate a little bit on that for me, please?
Yeah, so per the ordinances and how large the piece of property is, we're only 3 units over what we're allowed to build.
Okay.
3.
So if you did not
And-
have those 3 units, you wouldn't be applying for the variance, am I correct in saying that?
Exactly.
Okay.
But
But
if we were to change 1 to 2 of the units per building into 1-bedrooms, we'd probably meet the ordinance.
Yeah, the issue is, though, it's a debt service issue to make this whole project feasible. So
Well, you know, unfortunately, someone alluded to that earlier, a reason to grant a variance does not have any financial gain or loss on it.
We understand.
Yeah, that is totally, so, that is the way the law is written, and we're under obligation that we cannot allow it. I understand
Yep.
you try and develop and make a buck, I mean, that's great, but as a ZBA board, we cannot utilize that in our decision-making process.
So I have a question to that, though. It's our understanding that Casa Mia that's being developed now is 2 acres, RM1, and they have 24 units on 2 acres. Is that correct?
Where's that, I'm sorry?
Casa Mia or Mia Casa right off of
You
20.
mean right across the other side?
Yeah,
The new senior, yeah.
because that would put this
Senior
at
To
60
be,
units
to be
for
honest
5
with
acres.
you, I'm gonna go to Mr. DeMasters quickly on that, if he doesn't have an answer, really, I cannot get into other developments in the area, I don't know, they did not come in front of us, don't know what the zoning is there on it, we're pretty much lay planners, we show up to the meetings and we move forward. Do you have any comments on Casa? Right. Turn the mic on.
Yep. So from what I remember, they only had a setback variance.
Right.
From the 23 mile, but they did meet the required units
Okay.
for that property. They didn't require variance.
And it's
And
going-
you can check back tomorrow with the planning
Yeah.
director, but.
And it's going up all brick too, which I think is great.
Correct.
Beautiful, yes, okay. Anybody else? Anything else? Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Please do.
Yeah.
So you say going from 2 bedrooms to 1 bedrooms, that's gonna, you would stay with 40 units, but does it reduces the size of the footprint?
Yep, because the 1-bedrooms require less land.
The footprint itself would not change, though.
The
because,
footprint
yeah,
would not
the
change.
Footprint,
So if it's 1 bedroom, how do you make it, just give it a bigger family room? Is that,
correct,
is that
that's
what
all
you're-
it
well,
is, yeah, that's all it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Pete Snyder from Urban Land Consultants, the engineer representing them. Well, let me say it this way. They're asking for a variance in order to build 2-bedroom units everywhere. They would be allowed because you need 6,000 square feet per 2-bedroom unit, but you don't need 6,000 square feet for a one-bedroom unit. It's less, okay? So if they just converted everything to one-bedroom units, this wouldn't even be on the agenda tonight, because they would comply, they'd be allowed 42 or 43 or 44.
That's why I was kind of getting clarity,
Yeah,
that was
so
my point, is I was trying to help.
If you choose to grant this variance, what you're essentially doing is granting a variance to allow them to build two-bedroom units, where otherwise they would take some of those, modify them, make them ones, and still come in with 4 10-unit buildings. They would just have one-bedroom units in some of those buildings instead of two-bedroom units. Do you understand the idea there? Absolutely. Okay.
Excuse me, I'll get you in a minute.
Yeah.
Please
So
continue.
I hope I didn't make it, that's more of a planning commission discussion than a ZBA discussion
fully
usually, but I hope I conveyed.
My background's in land development, so I'm there with you, so that's kind of why I asked the questions, so I could get more or less everybody here, more clarity on what you guys were explaining.
Thank you.
Any additional comments this way? Please do, please do.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Back to the first item this evening that we're talking about is the variance for the density of the property. As spoken by the gentleman from the architect or the engineer, if you did have to supplement the buildings with some one-bedroom units, how many one-bedroom units would it take to achieve in order to meet the ordinance?
Just off the hip, probably 2 units.
Because you're only I think you're only 3 units over.
We're only 3 units.
3 units
Really,
over.
2.5.
Yeah, we're 2
For
and a
density,
half.
that's, and I understand that.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, is the per bedroom, and you probably have those calculations, it doesn't change that much, really. It's like 1,000 or 2,000 square feet between a 2-bedroom and 1-bedroom from a land use.
But have you done the calculations? I mean, is it 5 units? Is it 8 units? I'm trying to come to an
I'm doing head
agreement here.
math, so if I'm wrong, I can check it later, but I think again, assuming that they were gonna make all of the buildings identical, which is, is normally the case, I think they would need to take 2 units in each building and convert them from 2-bedroom to 1-bedroom. And I
So
think
that's
that,
8 units then.
at that point, exactly, so it'd be 8 units that were converted from 2s to 1s. And
Then you could achieve the density requirements.
Correct.
Okay.
The difference is only 5,500 to 66,000, so the difference is really,
It's
the
7%.
5630 is 130 square feet, in my calculation wise, so you're,
Yeah.
by the time you do the math, divided by the 10, it might only be 1.
Thank you. I'm gonna have you guys step aside. I'll
Okay.
reopen to the public for just a quick minute.
Yep.
And I know a couple individuals wanted to say something and had to cut them off because I can't do that normally. We don't entertain that, but we will for this meeting. You just step aside for a minute. I had 2 individuals that wanted to say something. If you don't wish now, then we'll move on.
Okay, I just want to make them, everyone understand that this is just the variance for the density.
Right.
Okay, so, whether they approve or not approve, it's just the
Please
density
address the
thing.
board. Thank you.
Right. I think the biggest issue is the other variances that, we have with the parking.
We'll move along.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sir, please, you wanted to say something?
Thank you. When I visited the zoning department in this building, and they brought out the renderings and the drawings, the employee of the township talking to me told me that this variance would allow a 5th building. That's where I got that figure
Okay,
from.
no problem. Yeah, sometimes there's different interpretations, so appreciate the clarification of that. Thank you, sir. I don't believe it's going to. Stand back up. Anything else you wish to? You want to step up to the podium again, please? I'm sorry, I'm early to get you guys to work out tonight. Anything else you wish to address on item A? Any questions to my right?
Mentioned?
Questions to my left?
No.
You all set?
Yeah, we're all set.
Okay, what's the board's pleasure? Maker of a motion, please state your reason for approval or denial. State the reasons of your motion, and we'll move on it. And like I said, we need 4 positive votes to make it fly through. Please make a motion.
I make a motion to deny ZBA petition 2022-2. I see no practical difficulty here. And
That's your motion. Do I have support?
Support.
Okay, any additional comments or concerns on the motion? Anything else we wish to add into the motion? Mr. Maybell, okay. So basically, nothing adding? We have a motion to deny due to the fact there is no practical difficulty and the property can be utilized the way it currently sits for moving it with a motion, and it's only monetary that they're actually looking for, and we cannot move in that direction. So we have a motion to deny. All in favor, speaking of saying aye?
Aye.
Aye. Motion had, all? Nay. Okay,
I'm sorry, was that a nay?
That's a nay, yeah.
okay.
Okay, so we have,
You voted to deny, correct, Mr. Smith?
Correct.
Mr. Bell to deny, correct? Ms. Jones?
Deny.
I myself deny. You approve not to deny, correct? Okay, let's move on to B. All set with that, Gary? 4 negatives, right, yes, we voted yes. Yeah, 4, either one way or the other, yes. Moving on to number 4. Can you, B, I'm sorry.
Yes, so, let me just pull my site plan up here one moment. Currently, the way with the 42 bedroom units require, let's see what the calculation is here. 500 square feet per 2 bedroom unit, which would require 20,000 square feet of land for recreation space. We are proposing 6,461 square feet due to the ordinance that doesn't allow including the 50-foot setback. If we did, if we could include the 50-foot setback around all 3 sides in the west side of the property, we would have well over that at 23,111 square feet. So we're asking for a use variance on the reduction from 500 square feet to 161 feet. What we are offering is a walking path, pergola, benches, dog waste station. So there is still certainly some type of outdoor space in a designated area. Not to mention each of the units does have some type of, either a balcony or a little stoop outside the front. So that is basically. Plus all the land around the detention. Yeah, yeah. With the setbacks, it's, there's 50 foot on all sides except for on the south is a 10 foot or 20 foot green belt approximately. But again, the footprint doesn't change. It's even if we reduce, because we just got denied letter number A or letter A, even if we reduce it, the 1 bedrooms, it's still going to fall short. But the hardship here again is due to the 50-foot setback, not being able to calculate that in the equation, which I think, should be.
Okay. Mr. Moraine?
Where's the 50-foot setback from? From Sass Road or from their property or?
Yeah, from the north property, west property, which is our R1 neighbors as well, and off the south is a 50-foot setback that's not being.
They're 3-sided?
Correct, and that's not, you're not able to calculate that into the recreation space.
I would say that the pergola, that stuff's more of a planning department issue than it would ever be for us, just as a statement.
Okay.
Thank you. Ms. Jones?
I'm just looking at, that is a huge ask. I'm not agreeing with that at all, but that's just where I'm sitting.
Thank you. Mr. LaBelle?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm strongly opposed to this. The ordinance is in place. One of the reasons that this ordinance is in place for setbacks as well as the allowable green space per unit is people need a place to go. You're in an apartment, you need a place to go. You're asking for a lot. That's quite a reduction. And as far as a practical difficulty, again, I don't see any real practical difficulties here. And you'll have a chance to explain yourself. With that being said, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Smith?
I echo what Mr. LaBelle said, and, you know, it does speak to density still. And I think that maybe we're trying to make the property a little too dense for what it can actually hold. And so there's no practical difficulty with the lot so much as it is the business model of how many units you want to put on the space. Okay, so.
Thank you.
If I might address that.
I'll get you a minute, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, I kind of concur with Mr. Smith. It's the business model, and you know, there's a reason we have that within our ordinance on the recreational space, and just because of the setback, I don't know if that's really a good trade-off. And gazebos and walking paths, I mean, that can be handled during planning, and we're pretty much worried about actually the square footage. Sir, please.
Yeah, if I might, here's the fundamental issue of why a long and narrow lot. Think of it this way, the perimeter, there's a perimeter building setback of 50 feet around the entire perimeter in the zoning ordinance. The parcel's 190 feet wide. That means there's only a strip down the middle of 90 feet that counts under your ordinance as qualifying open space. You see? There's a perimeter building setback of 50 feet. It seems a little strange to apply a perimeter building setback where there is no building. I understand protecting building setbacks and not counting them as open space. That's very sensible. Like where there is a 50-foot distance between a building and a property line, that shouldn't be counted as open space. That's part of the setback. This is a situation where you only have 90 feet through the middle. If you do the math, basically in order to meet the open space ordinance on a narrow parcel, you got to give up about half the parcel, because you only got 90 feet that counts. You see? It is directly related. Think of it this way. If the parcel was only 100 feet wide, it would be undevelopable under your ordinance because there's no open space that would ever qualify. As the parcel gets narrower and narrower, you get less and less of that 50 foot off one side, 50 foot off the other, the little strip in the middle. So this really is, even though it looks like a big ask, this really is a ZBA issue. I don't think your ordinance was meant to defend open space where there weren't any buildings, and I don't think your ordinance was built to defend over a situation where a developer has like a little 90-foot slice that could even qualify as open space, okay? Where really, again, half of the parcel would have to be, if this were to comply, taking away one building doesn't work. You got to take away two because of how narrow that is. So this part, again, you've seen me before, and I do a lot of plans in a lot of places. This really is a ZBA issue. As the parcel gets narrower, you got to think about, hey, should we apply that building perimeter setback where there clearly are no buildings? Or should we allow that as open space in order to have a piece that can legitimately be developed? Okay.
Thank you. Comments or concerns from the building department? Not this time, huh? All tired out, okay. Yes, it's a ZBA issue, yes. Okay, can you please step aside? I'll open it up to the public again. Anyone from the public wish to address it, please come forward, sign in, if you haven't done so already.
Again, when I went to I saw the renderings and the drawings, and the proposed recreation area is set up to be at the complete rear of the property in a 6,400 square area with those things. My concern is with the 50-foot setback, how close are these buildings going to be to our property line? I saw some renderings where they could be, and again, the word is could, be as close as 37 and a half feet. That is a distinct concern to myself, but especially to my neighbors whose front doors face this property, whose decks face this property. To have a building 37 or 40 feet from the property line is going to severely affect their privacy and their property values. Thank you.
Anybody else who should address, please come forward.
The privacy issue with them putting it so
Could you
close.
please state your name first before you
Oh,
start?
I'm sorry, my name is Liz, sorry.
Thank you, thank you.
With the privacy issue, with them being able to come so close now, if they get any type of extra room, they're gonna put it closer to the line. And how are they gonna put this landscaping that they say is gonna be so beautiful and not see anything? How much room is that gonna give them for landscaping? Not that much room. And again, the trash bins, how close they're gonna be to our line. And privacy is such a big issue. I don't wanna be looking in somebody's window or have somebody looking in my window. That's why we have ordinances for this, for privacy. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good evening again, my name is Pat. One thing that just came to my attention too as well with the variances and being so close in the proximity and the recreation space, what if something happens with a fire or you have all these people in the apartment complex that are congregating down in their tiny little recreation space or on their stoop and there is fire or something like that? These buildings are gonna be way too close together. Our units are close together. They're trying to put it in there. Our fire truck's gonna be able to get in to reach these buildings if they're in the back, through our entryway. There's only gonna be one way in, one way out to this complex because of the narrowness of it. With what they're trying to scale down and put in there, it's also a hazard as far as building fires or whatever that could be there if people need to get out in a hurry or something like that.
Thank you for your concerns. Anybody else? Okay, I'm gonna close it down from the public on this issue. We'll move back up to the petitioners. I understand your argument. You can stand up by the podium if you wish, it's up to you. I understand your concerns about the 90 feet or whatever, but, people are in apartments, they should have the recreational space, and we should give them the most space as possible. And also, there is still undeveloped property there too, which, towards 23 Mile. So eventually, something's gonna be developed there, it's very possible, like I said. You do have a right to develop the property. And we can't sandwich us in where we're taking a compromise on the recreational space. I mean, that's where I'm going with that one, so. Just by bird dogging, and I understand that area too, but, we have to looking at as, the health, safety, and welfare of the community too. Anything additional from my right? Anything additional from my left? Still nothing to say, Mr.
That 50 feet is, for clarity purposes, the building won't be closer than 50 feet to the property line.
Correct.
The concerns that someone brought up, that it's 35 feet from their house or 37 feet.
No, correct.
50 feet.
There's no, we're not, There's not gonna
And then that common area where you have the sidewalk and the pergola, none of that 50 feet north or south, only the 90 feet down the center is what you're including into that?
Exactly.
Correct, that's exactly.
That 50-foot setback is for
So
when there's-
you're losing, I don't know what the length of that piece is right at that end, but I would have to say it's close to 2,000 or 3,000 square feet of space you're losing because of the 50 feet front, top and bottom of the property?
It's well over that.
It's well over
Because
that.
we're going from 6,000 feet, and when you don't include the setback, and when you do include the setback, we're at over 23,000 square feet, so we actually meet that.
Well, I'm really just looking at the end, I'm not really looking at each building wise, I'm looking at that main, I'm gonna call it open space
Understood.
to the west end of the property.
Yeah.
Yeah. Their numbers are accurate for that open space to the west. If you discount the perimeter setback, you have 50 feet on both sides and on the end. It really does go from 6,000 square feet to 23,000 square feet.
That's without it's clear space.
It's all clear space. The issue is whether or not the 50-foot building perimeter setback is technically counted in the calculation for the requirement of open space.
Do you guys have the site plan in front of you right now?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Yeah, so it's on the west side of Building 4. Roughly, that's over half an acre of just open space.
It's not that there's no space for residents, but when you factor 500 square feet per residence, not many people even have that, just in general, you know? So it's not that we're not offering a recreation space, we are.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a hardship with this property due to
The shape of it.
and not being able to count the 50-foot setbacks. And my rebuttal is, again, I just drove through Casamia, it's currently being developed. 24 units on 2 acres, there's no recreation space there. I don't know how that was approved, and I don't know how that density was approved either. And that's RM1 zoning there, in Chesterfield Township.
Yeah, there'll be more recreation space on this proposed development than Seabreeze condos right behind us. There's no common area or recreation space.
Please, 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 please. Please, continue. Folks, please. Continue.
No comment.
Thank you so much. Mr. DeMaster, you had something, sir.
Yes, Pat, to address your comment on the fire, there are fire codes and laws that would have to be met, and this project would be looked at by the fire inspectors before it was approved anyway, just so you know. Right, yeah. And they can't get variances on fire codes, so that's a good thing, just so you know.
The fire department has already looked at this.
They've already reviewed this and haven't, there's no edits required.
Yeah, and all the buildings will be suppressed, so.
Right, yeah. Ms. Jones, anything?
Yeah, and then, in regards to the recreation space,
Sure,
these calculations, it's not including any of the free space around the detention pond. And I do feel that people would, walk around that, walk their dog, and, it's gonna be nice,
Yes,
so.
you do have a retention pond.
Yes,
I'm
yeah.
aware of that now.
What's that?
I'm aware of that now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Ms. Jones, anything?
Please.
Please.
I'm looking at this and you're going from 500 square feet to 161 square feet with approximately 60-plus tenants. Correct? You have 60-plus tenants and you're giving them, and you're asking them to enjoy 161 square feet of, per unit. Yeah, but, that is like, okay. Okay, I'm just.
Mr. Barone, I'm gonna go to you. I know you've been doing some calculations and figuring this out. Please.
I just, looking at the drawings, it's a deceiving number that they're requesting that 161 is, as I'm trying to clarify. There's a lot of space there that they're not being allowed to use that in my opinion, would be a practical difficulty. So if you add back in just that single parcel at the end, you said almost a half acre of open land. It's larger than most lots in Chesterfield without a house on it at all. If you can take into perspective, that's how big the piece is. So, and then they're only, right at this point, it looks like they're only gonna use about less than a third of it that's allowable, if my calculations are kinda correct.
That's correct, yeah.
Because you're 50 by, it looks like 50 by 100, and then 50 by 100, and 50 by 100, even if you go.
Correct.
It's 190 one way and 100 and 100.
Correct.
It's a lot of space that you're losing because of that
Yeah,
50-foot setback, so.
Okay, did that help other members on that? Okay. Good. Anything you wish to add? Nope, okay. I'm gonna move to a motion. What's the board's pleasure? Maker of the motion, please state your reason for approval or denial, and we'll move ahead with it. Looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to deny ZBA petition 2022-3. Again, I see no practical difficulty here. This is, that's a big ask again, and I don't see a practical difficulty.
I do have a motion. Do I have support?
I'll support.
All in favor of saying aye to deny? Aye to deny? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Petition has been denied. Okay, moving along to C.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna withdraw the other 3 variances because of, the last one that was just denied. We have to redo the whole project now, so. And, yeah, so there'll be 2.5 acres of vacant land with 2 buildings on it.
Yeah.
So,
And I don't quite,
Makes no
I would actually
sense
just
to the
like,
city.
I would just like clarification from your guys' aspect. How Casa Mia across the street, again, I said it a few times now, it's 2 acres, 24 units, and there's no recreation space. I just wanna know how that was approved.
That did not come to the ZBA.
It doesn't come to ZBA. It has to either go in front, it has to go in front of the planning board.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with ZBA unless unless there's an ordinance that we have to rule on. And the only one was they have a setback off of 23 Mile Road. They're closer to 23 Mile Road than was allowable. And I think it was a matter of 10 feet.
Understood.
And it was allowed, but there was nothing in front of us that had regards to open space, density, nothing to that effect. Could be a different part of
I
the
believe-
township, but not here.
Yeah, I believe it's a different use also, isn't it? It's a 55 plus?
yeah,
And
it's
that-
senior
that's-
apartments.
Yes, senior apartments have a
Yeah.
different
Yeah, senior apartment, so
requirements.
it does have a different,
Yeah, there's a difference in parking.
and parking, and
Correct.
variance, yeah, so different when you go through planning. I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah, when you go through planning, it's gonna be different with the parking. There's another home up the road, I know it's, the one we kind of, right next to Aspen Creek. I know we went around and around on that one about parking and development. It depends on the use, that would be a reason probably what happened on that one.
Understood. Okay.
Understood.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Let the meeting minutes show that the petitioner had withdrawn C, D, and E per the request to re-engineer the site. Let the minutes also state that we did have denial on A and B, and the chair did not pull the board, but I think we had an understanding that we did move to deny it. We have the capability of denying a motion with 4 positive votes, and I believe we have 4 positive votes on the denial. So as of right now, on the ZBA end, this project may be redeveloped, redesigned. It may never come back to us. It may go to planning, which is a different board altogether. But for the variances they wanted to change the ordinance, we had denied them this evening on the first 2. So that's all I had. We have some more business. You're willing to stay, but we're almost done with our meeting, so thank you. Thank you, folks, for coming out. Oh, you still signing off on these things or not? Yeah, we should sign them, yeah.
I did you make a motion on minutes?
No, not as of yet.
Yeah,
Did you want to move into that since you're the
can't see
secretary?
without my glasses, but does it look all right so far?
One part
Thank you, you're
on
so
the minutes,
kind.
when you
Those are pretty powerful at the bottom.
Well, I could do
Did
it.
you
the best you
review
can
that
get.
with somebody to
They don't make them over.
be corrected? Did you review
I
that?
didn't, I was just looking at it earlier, I'm like, well, it's just a matter of a word.
Okay,
It was a typo.
okay, if you wish to make a motion, please do then.
Oh, I can see out of yours, that's pretty cool. Here you go, babe. Thank you, you do look good, you do.
Thank you so much. And thank you, guys.
Thank you, have a good evening.
I gotta sign it here.
Only good we could do.
The part where it says this is an ordinance that's not going to be put in place, unfortunately, it's where it should say this is an ordinance that's going to be in place.
Okay.
So, so I'd like, yeah. if
Just
we-
make it, yeah,
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to,
make a motion to
go
correct.
back and correct, that paragraph where it says, this is an ordinance that is not going to be put in place, whereas it should state this is going to be put in place.
Okay.
Just a typo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you want to sign these?
Yep.
And state that we denied it for the records, please? And we had a motion to approve, the minutes as corrected, and I'll support it in case we go off something in the conversation. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. The minutes have been approved. Any old business? Well, it's good to see you join us, Mr. DeMaster, and thought you didn't like us anymore, and thought we rule how we want to rule anyways, so.
We all agreed
Just didn't
to,
wanna-
correct?
Then we should, show up. Yes. Anything new? Anything new? Anything exciting you want to tell us about, since we don't show up very much? Nothing new. Business? You're still busy. What's that? Not as of yet, but,
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
support, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned.